The ALBA countries, Russia and China, have all deplored the use of force provoked by the United States as they entered during 8 hours a Venezuelan fishing boat. Thanks to the companionship of Venezuelan military who patrolled the area, the United States eventually released the illegal occupation of the Venezuelan ship in Venezuelan exclusive economic zone territorial waters. Donald Trump has also provided a new video of 3 killed civilians on a speedboat on waters somewhere in the Caribbean with absolutely no evidence of any crime whatsoever, which is in addition to the previous speedboat killing of 10 or 11 people, which to this date has not been conclusively explained. All of these actions are crimes of war which endanger the human rights position of United States political authorities and military, which is absolutely not surprising because in the Middle East something similar is happening. We can see Marco Rubio in Israel meeting with Benjamin Netanyahu, both alone, speaking about the necessity of crushing Hamas, just as they want to crush Cartel de los Soles or Tren de Aragua or whatever they invent as terrorist organizations which don't even exist. Hamas, however, it's completely legitimate right now as it enjoys support of Qatar, Kuwait, Iran, Egypt, United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, Pakistan, even Morocco is said to be joining the strengthened Arab alliance. And of course, Russia would be the greatest winner as they already conducted negotiation talks in Moscow with many of those leaders, in addition to the summit that is just concluding right now in Qatar. Israel has definitely been condemned as a rogue state that can randomly attack anywhere in the Middle East, just as the United States is randomly attacking anywhere in the Caribbean Sea. The United States is getting out of Ukraine in absolute defeat as Russia continues conquering the Ukraine war. And with this solid relationship between Israel and the United States, which are both hated countries across the planet, certainly the Middle East will not be an easy sphere of influence for either America or a greater Israel that will never materialize. There is growing conviction across the Middle East that militias must be trained to help Hamas, and those militias could use citizens of a number of countries in the Middle East. Perhaps they are watching that the militias recently being deployed in Venezuela are working every Saturday. They are going to their training sessions and they are just waiting for the United States to invade or attack. However, that has not happened yet. The United States is only randomly attacking small passenger boats across the Caribbean and killing innocent civilians. ALBA countries encompass a significant part of the Caribbean, including Grenada, Dominica, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Antigua and Barbuda, St. Kitts and Nevis, Cuba, Bolivia, Nicaragua, and Venezuela. We are all glued together in the necessity of reclaiming peace for the Caribbean Sea. However, Guyana and Trinidad and Tobago insist in a military alliance with the United States, which could be subject to Venezuela retaliation if a United States attack against Venezuela is originated in either Guyana or Trinidad and Tobago, and Venezuelan response would be proportionate. This doom scenario must be avoided, and all remaining Latin American and Caribbean countries are urged to place a common ground against this threat of war. Puerto Rican independence movement continues gaining momentum, and there are already brochures circulating about how an independent Puerto Rico could develop its economy, which looks like a suitable option for Puerto Rico, considering that Puerto Rico is only considered from the United States when they have the need of a random piece of land for deploying warships, as if it were an Indian Ocean isolated island such as Diego Garcia. It will be useful if Latin American and Caribbean countries gather in person in a summit comparable to what we have just seen in Qatar, and the Arab world must be congratulated because the pan-Arab unity is now becoming a reality thanks to the stupidity of Israel of bombing civilian targets and negotiators in Doha, Qatar. Israel seems to be massively losing everywhere. They are being attacked by the Houthis. They are having massive casualties in Gaza. Bombing of Doha obviously did not succeed. And diplomatically, Israel has become a pariah state. And the state of Palestine has been recognized by the United Nations. It looks like United States and Israel are failing so badly in the Eurasian front in Ukraine and in the Middle Eastern front in Persian Gulf states that, united with the killing of the TikToker in the United States and militarization of the cities of Chicago, Memphis, and Washington, D.C., plus the China severe talks with Secretary of War regarding their intentions of regaining Taiwan, United States is being defeated in all fronts, and they are trying to invent this new war against Venezuela for regime change to see if they can win something somewhere. President Nicolas Maduro, however, has been addressing the press very conclusively, stressing that he prefers not to comment on the boats having been shot, as there is insufficient evidence of all claims provided, and he supports United States Congress asking authorities for clarification of recent firings and shootings. Nicolas Maduro is particularly interested in knowing who in the United States military or high government has provided the orders of shooting civilians in small boats. Such information has not been provided by the United States administration yet. Poor President Donald Trump is senile and ill, and he just shows random videos that put him closer to condemnation by a number of international law crimes. It is necessary that the populations of Guyana and Trinidad and Tobago put aside prejudices they may have against Venezuelans and consider if it is to the interest of the Caribbean community to foster a war featuring invasion from the United States to a neighbor, because the war could become inevitable if attacks occur and Venezuela retaliates. And of course, Venezuela would find it a suitable occasion for recovering Essequibo, which is Venezuelan territory, and negotiations with Irfan Ali regime have failed. You must also remember that the elections that re-elected Irfan Ali remain contested. He is acting as an illegitimate president of Guyana, which puts him at the same level as Nicolas Maduro, who is also signaled by members of the international community as illegitimate. For now, both illegitimate presidents, Irfan Ali and Maduro, should dialogue, and same should do Prime Minister Kamla. Prime Minister Kamla has been particularly aggressive, and she supports international law crimes such as killing civilian boats without due process. Back to the Middle East, the appropriate response against Israel is still being debated. It might be a pan-Arab military force targeting Israel objectives and liberating the territories of Gaza and the West Bank for definite relocation of the Palestine state with East Jerusalem as its capital, while Hamas is the internationally recognized authority of Palestine, even though it is criminalized by the United States as a terrorist organization, just as the legitimate constitutional government in Venezuela is labeled as terrorist organizations such as Cartel de los Soles or Tren de Aragua, none of which exist. It is quite saddening that the world was supposed to become better across the years while we are in decay. We have produced technology, we have wasted money in education, in economic development, but we have failed in empathy as we privilege confrontation. Venezuela and Qatar are leading sizable regions set to become a significant Caribbean sphere of influence and a significant Middle Eastern sphere of influence aligned with BRICS, and against the hegemonic powers of Europe, which seems to be lost, and the United States, which has become enemy of the rest of the planet. It is interesting, however, that United States is nurturing a new relationship with Belarus, with its president Lukashenko, as he prepares to leave NATO and Europe to the mercy of Vladimir Putin's decisions. On the plus side, we have learned that Jamaica has discovered marketable oil reserves, and it should be welcomed to the petroleum community of the Americas, which after all of these wars are settled, should unify our continent for a common petroleum producing and refining and distribution strategy along with OPEC+. United States is also threatening further sanctions to China and India and Brazil regarding the relationship to Russia's oil. At this point in time, the BRICS countries have been advancing their currency agreements, and de-dollarization in commerce should continue or even accelerate. Of course, in Venezuela, we are scared. We do not want to get involved in a war. We have tried diplomatically by all means to avoid this war. We have tried to dialogue with Guyana concerning the Essequibo dispute, and Guyana has always rejected dialogue and has always threatened us with lawfare of the International Court of Justice. Venezuelan opposition has used terrible, hateful tactics that remind fascism and Nazism, dividing their supporters as the good people and opposition not aligned with the invasion forces are labeled as collaborationists of the Venezuelan government. However, Venezuelans are supposed to defend our country, as not defending our country, of course, is treason. It is necessary that Latin America and the Caribbean continue strengthening CARICOM, ALBA, and CELAC, which are organized regional organizations for developing common strategies of development. The decision of the United States to actually strike Venezuela into a certain target is not even guaranteed, as there are now representatives of the United States Congress from the Republican Party close to the hawkish narrative, who are now saying that changes will be seen in the next few weeks or in the next few months. If they are expecting to strike within the next few months, it seems that they would have to cause a world war, because by that time, China, Russia, and Iran would have already supplied plenty of new equipment into Venezuela. It is likely that nuclear capabilities weapons are already being deployed to the Venezuelan military, which has Venezuelan trained army, Venezuelan militias, and a number of soldiers from our allied countries. There are words that nuclear submarines from Russia are already wandering around the Caribbean Sea. Those Russian submarines are very difficult to track, and they often disappear after being reported by Western authorities. And all looks like a doom scenario that we would like to avoid. Israel seems determined in making war simultaneously with every single country in the Middle East. They are all very scared, and they are uniting. And such union as we see in the Arab world must be constructed in Latin America and the Caribbean immediately. Latin American union seems more difficult because a number of Latin American countries are vassals of the United States due to legacy reminders of Monroe Doctrine's sphere of influence. We can always remember that if Japan and South Korea were safely respected as allies of the United States in the Eastern Hemisphere, Venezuela's right to be an ally of Russia, China, and India in the Western Hemisphere must also be respected, because the countries of Iran, Russia, China, and India are more aligned to Venezuelan goals of inclusive development for all citizens, regardless of competition from great powers.